The Mona Lisa. Our first stop is the Louvre Museum in Paris, home to the Mona Lisa. Painted by Leonardo da Vinci in the 16th century, this portrait is renowned for Mona Lisa's enigmatic smile. The detailed background and the use of light and shadow showcase da Vinci's skill and innovative techniques. The Starry Night. Now, we visit the Museum of Modern Art in New York to admire the Starry Night. This masterpiece by Vincent van Gogh, painted in 1889, captures the view from his asylum room. The swirling patterns of the stars against the night sky express Van Gogh's emotional turmoil and his love for nature. The persistence of memory. Our journey takes us next to the Salvador Dali Museum in Florida. Here, we find the persistence of memory, a surreal painting created in 1931. Dali's melting clocks, set in a dreamlike landscape, challenge our perceptions of time and reality. The Scream. We now travel to the National Gallery in Oslo to see Edvard Munch's The Scream, painted in 1893. This work uses bold colors and dramatic brushstrokes to depict a figure gripped by anxiety against a blood-red sky. It's a powerful expression of human emotion. Guernica. The Reina Sofia Museum in Madrid, where we find Pablo Picasso's Guernica, painted in 1937. This large mural-sized canvas depicts the horrors of war, specifically the bombing of Guernica during the Spanish Civil War. Its monochromatic palette and distorted figures create a powerful anti-war statement. The Birth of Venus. We now travel to the Uffizi Gallery in Florence to admire The Birth of Venus by Sandro Botticelli. This iconic painting from the late 15th century depicts the goddess Venus emerging from the sea as a fully grown woman. The painting is celebrated for its beauty and for its depiction of the mythological theme. American Gothic. We visit the Art Institute of Chicago to see Grant Wood's American Gothic. Painted in 1930, this piece is one of the most familiar images in 20th century American art. It depicts a farmer and his daughter standing in front of a Gothic-style farmhouse, symbolizing the rural American Midwest. The Girl with a Pearl Earring. Our journey takes us to the Mauritshuis Museum in The Hague, where we find The Girl with a Pearl Earring. This 17th century painting by Johannes Vermeer is often referred to as the Dutch Mona Lisa. The girl's captivating gaze and the luminous pearl earring demonstrate Vermeer's mastery of light and texture. The Last Supper. Moving on to Milan, Italy, at the convent of Santa Maria delle Grazie, where we find The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci, painted in the late 15th century. This mural depicts the moment when Jesus announces that one of his apostles would betray him. The reactions of the apostles and the composition of the scene are a testament to da Vinci's ability to portray human emotions. Water Lilies. Now we visit the Musée de l'Orangerie in Paris, home to Claude Monet's Water Lilies. This series of approximately 250 oil paintings, created during the last 30 years of Monet's life, depict his flower garden at Giverny. The reflections of the sky and the lilies floating on the pond's surface create a sense of tranquility and harmony with nature. The Kiss. It's an artwork by Gustav Klimt in Vienna, painted between 1907 and 1908. This artwork is a high point of Klimt's golden period. It depicts a couple in a loving embrace, their bodies covered in ornate patterns. The painting is celebrated for its sensual and romantic symbolism. Las Meninas. This artwork was painted by Diego Velázquez, which is in Museo del Prado, Madrid, painted in 1656. This complex and enigmatic painting shows a scene in the court of King Philip IV of Spain. The viewer is drawn into the scene through the gazes of the figures and the clever use of mirrors and perspective. The Night Watch. At the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, The Night Watch by Rembrandt van Rijn, painted in 1642. This large and dramatic painting showcases a group of city guards. The use of light and shadow brings the scene to life, highlighting Rembrandt's mastery of portraiture and group composition. Sunflowers. This painting, which is in Van Gogh Museum, also in Amsterdam, home to sunflowers by Vincent van Gogh. This vibrant painting from 1888 is one of a series in which Van Gogh experimented with color and technique. The sunflowers, painted with thick, bold strokes, seem to burst from the canvas, reflecting Van Gogh's intense relationship with nature. The Creation of Adam. Our next painting is The Creation of Adam by Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel in Vatican City, where we find painted between 1508 and 1512. This iconic image from the chapel ceiling depicts the moment God gives life to Adam. The dynamic poses and the gap between their fingers have made this scene one of the most replicated in history. The Arnolfini Portrait. Now, we travel to the National Gallery in London to see the Arnolfini Portrait by Jan van Eyck. Painted in 1434, this detailed work shows a wealthy couple in a domestic setting. The mirror in the background reflects the entire room, demonstrating Van Eyck's skill in perspective and attention to detail. The Dance, an artwork by Henri Matisse, which is in Paris.
It was painted in 1910.
This large canvas depicts 5 dancing figures in a circle against a simple green landscape and deep blue sky. The painting is celebrated for its vibrant colors and the sense of movement and rhythm it evokes. The Son of Man. Moving on to the Magritte Museum in Brussels. Home to The Son of Man by René Magritte. This 1964 painting is a self-portrait of the artist, his face obscured by a floating green apple. The painting is a classic example of Magritte's surrealist style, inviting viewers to question what they see. The School of Athens. This artwork by Raphael was painted between 1509 and 1511, which is in Vatican museums in Vatican City. This fresco depicts all the greatest mathematicians. Philosophers and scientists from classical antiquity gathered together, sharing their ideas and learning from each other. Nighthawks. Now, we travel to the Art Institute of Chicago to see Nighthawks by Edward Hopper. Painted in 1942, this piece is one of the most recognizable in American art. It depicts people sitting in a downtown diner late at night. It's a quiet scene, but the isolation and loneliness of the figures are palpable. The Thinker, an incredible painting by Auguste Rodin, present in Musée Rodin Paris. This bronze sculpture, completed in 1904, is one of the most famous sculptures in the world. It depicts a man in sober meditation, battling with a powerful internal struggle. The pose is naturalistic yet also symbolic. Impression Sunrise. Our journey takes us to the Musée Marmottan Monet in Paris, where we find Impression Sunrise by Claude Monet, painted in 1872. This artwork gave birth to the Impressionist movement. The painting depicts a sunrise over the port of Le Havre, with Monet's loose brushwork and focus on light and color capturing the fleeting nature of the moment. The Last Judgement. Finally, we travel to the Sistine Chapel in Vatican City to see The Last Judgement by Michelangelo, painted between 1536 and 1541. This monumental fresco covers the entire altar wall of the chapel. It depicts the second coming of Christ and the final and eternal judgment by God of all humanity.